All right, we're live. Come on, gang. I'm not sure why I'm going live. I got my daughter in the other room. She's doing her homework. Wife's doing something, going to be home soon. So I thought, let's go live. I got some splaining to do. Let's see who's here. Let me grab your Mamba teacher and Emma and everybody's here. This is great. Okay. Catnip for the soul, Mamba. So it's funny. So check this out. AI. We're in the age of AI. Oh man. I tell my kids, because they're half Chinese, I go, AI stands for Asian intelligence. So don't let us down. You need to math up. Like, Dad, you're so racist. I'm like, I'm just as God made me. Okay. Perfect. Hi, Susan. Yeah. The Sat song. Hi, Yu Chen-du. What up? Okay, so I discovered this, I asked AI, hey, is there any software that can like pull shorts and reels and TikTok type clips and caption them and, put them up on the various social platforms? Because I have no interest in doing that, but that's all these algorithms want is like stupid shorts. And I was like, yeah, bro, I got you. There's this thing called Vizard. It's like wizard, but with a V. Like some German had like dropped some acid and was like, we will call it Vizard, yeah? Vizard.ai for Asian intelligence. But Asians are inferior because we are the master race. Okay, that's the old Germans. We're not saying the Germans are still like that. My goal is to get canceled again today, always. And so I check it out and I'm like, whoa, it's actually not expensive. You just give it like this live video, like if after we're done, if I put it through this thing, it's like working, like that old Star Trek computer, and it spits out these stupid clips that are totally decontextualized, absolutely for short attention spans of people who just don't care at all. And the algorithm loves it. And I was like, well, that's fun. So I put a couple out and like, I'm watching them back and I'm like, these are trash. It's not because the AI sucks. It's that the whole concept of shorts, when you're talking like in a spontaneous way from nothing to no one, it doesn't track. It sounds stupid. Like the last one I put up, I just put one up because I just wanted to fuck with people. And it was somebody in the last live video I did, someone had made a quote from Tich, Nhat, Hanh about the body can't exist without consciousness. Consciousness without the body is not life, whatever it was. It was really kind of referring a bit to dependent origination and this Buddhist sort of doctrine, which is a great story. And it can explain the kind of dream function, like how this dream state functions a little, like, oh, there's dependent origination, like, well, this doesn't happen without this, and But my point at the time when I was speaking was we were speaking from this kind of radical unknowing. And it's like, well, shit, from there, none of that makes sense. Nothing that any Buddhist teacher says makes any sense at all. Like it's all just flapping of mouth, which Buddha himself was kind of saying in the Diamond Sutra a little bit. He was like, dude, this is just a way of speaking, right? Like you guys know none of this is actually, it's all just vapor. And I'm watching the short back and I'm like, man, I'm just sound like an asshole because I am. And I'm like, this is what the algorithm wants, man. Let's feed the beast. Who cares? Got nothing to lose, nothing to gain. There's like nothing at stake. So that's why you may see a few of these captioned little reels and shorts show up in your Facebook feed or your Instagram or YouTube or TikTok or whatever the hell the kids are doing these days. Ashley said, I made my first short video in forever the other day because it was just something I wanted to post quickly. Yeah, I have no reason to do this. It's just pure boredom. That's it. EM Awakening says, I can handle short clips. Give me a 3-hour interview. I can handle short clips. Give me a 3-hour interview in the Z-Dog universe every day. See, this is why I love you guys. It's probably why I went live right now, because I was like, after working on these little, because the thing will pull the clips and it'll caption them, but I have to go in and actually fix them to make them make sense because the AI is not that smart yet. And doing that for a while, I was like, this is just total mental masturbation. Like, why am I even doing this? And I'm like, oh, because there's nothing else to do. Might as well do it. And it might bring in a person that wants to see some 3-hour video just for fun. Of course, there's no real desire to care about that. And yet it's like, well, what else is there to do? I was telling my buddy today about that. I was like, yeah, I'm bored, so I'm doing these stupid clips. But then I was like, I like to go live and just talk with you guys, because that's therapy for me. That's like, we're sharing this nothing together. It's much more fun. Hey, Dan, flapping of the mouth is how people learn a lot of the time. Either it's wrong or it's right, but it makes you think. That's what's important. So I agree with every single thing you said, except for that's what's important. I don't think it's important at all. But reasonable authorities may disagree because nobody knows what the hell we're talking about. That's beautiful, Dan. Yeah, talk about nothing is a sure thing, Jojo. See, Jojo knows. Jojo's a supporter. She knows what this game is about. Wong Hapa girl, dude. There's never a Wong Hapa girl. There's only a right Hapa girl. Hapas are the best. My kids are Hapas. AI is totally messed up. I know, Asian intelligence. It's too smart. You're Hapa. Marathon Monk, why is the dream or self not real? Isn't it still just this? Mountains are mountains. See, that's beautiful. That's exactly right. And I think someone put a comment on that one saying, hey, before, they were quoting a Zen master, before I studied Zen, mountains were mountains, rivers were rivers. During studying Zen, they weren't that anymore, because you're like kind of into all the, and it's empty, it's nothing. And then after like liberation, it's like mountains are mountains and rivers are rivers again. And it's a way of saying everything is exactly what it is. The thing is, this is where Zubin's oppositional defiant personality character traits fire up. This is true. So why not just say it that way? But it's just this whole ordeal of like making something out of nothing, because it's a story. The story is exactly what it is, a story, and that's fine. But I think a lot of people, especially in the spiritual circus, spin their wheels chasing these stories, trying to make them real, trying to understand why I can't understand this story, or how come I don't understand dependent origination. I used to feel that way. I'm like, how the fuck is dependent? And then you kind of get it, you grok it non-conceptually and conceptually, and you're like, okay, great. So fucking what? Like, I don't know it just doesn't matter. It's like another story, which is great. And if you want to go down the rabbit hole, that's beautiful. If you think it helps you with suffering, great. Then that's a great story for you. For Zubin's story, it's like, I've had to kind of jettison all that shit. And I have good friends who are into that stuff, and they're really wise. Like, they're people that like, they just put a big smile on your face when you talk to them. But it used to be like, I was really into those sort of philosophical angles. And so Buddhism had a big allure for me because it was so like clinical about that, lists of stuff and the eightfold path and the this and the that. And it's like, great, Four Noble Truths and all that. And in the end, I don't know, you just end up killing the Buddha, or the Buddha and then it's just this. It's like you said, Marathon Monk. It's like, this is just exactly what it is, Linda Deacon, spiritual circus. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like you have the standard human circus, which we all understand. And then when you're unhappy with that, the illusion gives you the next level of circus, which is the spiritual circus. It's like, oh, bro doesn't like the regular circus, so we'll give him the special circus, that he'll be fooled that this is better in some way. It's not. It's the same. Dennis says, nothing from nothing, leave nothing. Everything is a song. You nailed it there, brother. I read Deirdre McPherson as Died Re McPherson. Man, there's something there, huh? This is like a garage shop without a car, people just yapping. Oh, that's funny. That's true. Have you guys seen the show Tires on Netflix with Shane Gillis? It's really funny. Steve Jobs is God says, I worked in a psych hospital for 4 months, and the patients are told they require medication for finding no meaning in life. Yeah, they found the truth, which is meaning is totally constructed, and then they're heavily medicated. The problem is people suffer when meaning is shown to be meaningless. They suffer because there's still all the conditioning that says there must be meaning, and without meaning, what am I? It gets a little dicey. And then there's underlying unworthiness and all the other aspects of the human instantiation that make it suffering. Now, today, I'm kind of in jester mode where it's like, it's all really funny to me. But there are other days where it's seen as a tragedy. It's like, wow, this is really like suffering is a big deal because it's optional in a sense. Pain is never optional. Even suffering of a certain flavor it's just what it is. So it's not optional because it's happening, right? Because there's a lot of victim shaming, like, oh, suffering's optional. You could just fucking zen your way out of it. Oh, shut the fuck up. Suffering is everything when it's happening. But the thing is, the fact is, it's experienced as absolutely real by apparent beings. And that is enough to make you perk up and go, probably not ideal to set up conditions that allow or encourage that. So natural compassion seemingly arises. It's been my experience. I could be fucked up. Yeah, Jericho says, it's really liberating not to feel the need to understand anything. All your life, you're trying to understand, you're trying to gain knowledge. That's nothing wrong with that, man. That was my whole big part of my life. Being a doctor, science, genetics, everything that I went through. And now it's like, and some of this just getting older maybe, but I think there's a thing in the whole awakening thing where that just becomes uninteresting. For me, it was like, okay, there's no more knowledge to acquire. It's funny, Adyashanti said this actually, quite directly. It's funny, I half the time I take a shit on Adya, and the other half the time I'm like, this guy is fucking on point. And he was like, you spend a lot of time acquiring knowledge, and then at some point you're just moving horizontally against this wall of the unknown, and you're just acquiring more knowledge, but you're not going anywhere. It's a metaphor, really, because this is like this. It's a complete unknown. It's beyond any thought or conception. Those are just appearances. So what is this? Well, can't open your mouth about it, but it's right here. It's like, whoa, fuck. Susan says, do you talk to your kids about psychedelics? Curious how or if you discuss. I think they've seen my videos, but they have not yet, haven't yet discussed it. But I will say this, when that discussion is, because we've talked about drugs and stuff, like drugs are bad, okay? Like at this age, not a good plan. But when it comes up, again, I think I'll have the honest discussion with them. Just be very direct. Like, these are tools. This is how Dad used them. And the truth is, I don't think they're necessary. If they show up for you, then they were necessary. But like, there's nothing causative here. This is all like, my feeling is it's all epiphenomena. It's all like someone who's wired for this thing to just unfold in the way it does. Sometimes psychedelics show up, and then there's this sense that, oh, this fallacy that like that caused it. But who says? Can't say that at all. Hi, Baroness. Marathon Monk, a Vipassana teacher once told me, not so fast in terms of being fully cooked, LOL. I was talking about leaving the raft on the other shore that Buddhism mentions. What do you make of that? Yeah. So it is funny. Like, so there's a couple things here. One is like, you can feel like you're done and still be just deluded fully. And I suspect for me, there's quite a bit of delusion. Like, it shows up and people point it out to me, and I'm like, oh, and sometimes it's seen spontaneously. So that still happens. So that, like, not fully cooked, right? But what you're pointing about the raft, so like this idea that the teachings are a raft that you use to get across the shore to the other shore, which is liberation, enlightenment, nirvana, whatever. And upon arriving at this proverbial other shore, you realize there was no shore, there was no river, and the raft disappears. It was never anything. It was never causative. It was never necessary, and yet it showed up. And that's the paradox, because all of reasoning and logic break down in this realm. It's like, and it's not a realm, it's like just this, that it just makes no sense. Now, so the thing is, you can easily do this thing called bypass, where you go, yeah, well, then there's nothing to do. And, like the kind of Tony Parson realm of like, this is all a story, nothing's happening, you never were, all that. And I'm very sympathetic to that position, and it is a position, even though they'll say it's not, because it can radically decapitate your bullshit. But it can also be used to completely bypass the fact that you're still operating from pure belief, delusion, ego, and you won't know it. It's increasingly clear that the thing is fraught in that way. So you can be like, oh, there's nothing to do. Oh, Z-Dog said it's all empty. Fucking nothing's happening, and there's no self and this and that. And you just go, yep, that's right. I'm done. I'm going to stop doing all these things. And then you find that you're still an asshole. You're still like suffering all the time. People still say you're a total, bitch. And it's like, oh, okay, something ain't right. Or it is right. It's just what it is. But I don't know anything about no liberation, whatever that is. Veritable Vagabond is saying, I trust Michael Taft, Henry Schuckman, Steven Snyder. I know all these guys. They say some nice things, and some of them really resonate. Some of it's sort of non-conceptual pointing. But like Michael Taft and Henry Schuckman, sometimes I listen to them and I'm like, they're so full of shit. Like they're just making something out of nothing. They're just building a raft and building more raft and building more raft, and it's just raft. And it's like, sink that shit. So at some point it becomes clear that you just have to let it go. But until that point, it's extremely helpful. I mean, those guys were helpful for me. So was, Eckhart Tolle. So was everybody I've come across actually has had a role, it seems, because they showed up, apparently, right? I trust Mahmoud Mamdani, says Dan. There you go. Hey, trust whoever you want, man. But verify, as Reagan and Gorby said. Perestroika. Dennis says, there's a new show called Pluribus, and it's kind of fun. I have been meaning to watch that. I read a review of it, and I was like, oh, yeah. Vince Gilligan, right? Like the Breaking Bad guy. I definitely want to watch that. It's on Apple, I think. Sometimes people, Linda says, sometimes people need a sharp eyes of their pain, but on in order to be able to face certain things that happened. There's some autocorrect stuff going on there, but I kind of get a gist of what you're saying. But don't ask me to repeat it because I'm not sure I do. I think I kind of get a gist of where you're going. EM Awakening says, DMT started this journey for me, will never do again. DMT is serious business, but it's also nothing. This is the thing, like humans turn everything into a big deal, into a drama. And for the human, it's a big drama. Like I've had psychedelic experience where it's like, oh, fuck me, And yet looking back and like doing it again, it's like, this is nothing. It's just pointing you right back here. The thing is, what often is felt is all that unconscious conditioning, trauma, stuff encoded apparently in the body and all this, and it can feel just fucking yuck. Some people have really lasting negative shit from that, for sure. Linda says, forget it. Oh, shepherd edges. Oh, it's just still fucking autocorrecting. Yeah, Pluribus. Gilligan is the goat, EM. Yeah. It's supposed to be really good. Dan says, DMT taught me how much vision is a construct of the mind. You don't actually see what is, not that you do on DMT either. Exactly. That's the trick. It's not like it shows you what is. It just shows you everything you see isn't. It's all constructed. Actually, all those medicines show you that in that way. Yeah, that this is not what, this is a complete fabrication. And what actually is, you can't say anything about. Veritable Vagabond says, how can I feel the love that is said to be pouring out of awareness more clearly? I love the beautiful, concrete yearning and the question there, right? Because people talk about this. So this outpouring, this ananda, the bliss love that seems to be associated with this concept, and it is a concept of consciousness or awareness or beingness, or what they call, in the Hindus call Satchitananda, being, consciousness, bliss. How can I feel the love that is said to be pouring out of awareness more clearly? So, I mean, every word of that, right, is a concept. The experience of that, my friend Ishwar talks about this very clearly. He's coming to visit, I think, next week. We might do a show or something, talk about this, because he had this big heart-opening kind of thing. And it's very hard to talk about. It's like he has different tricks for how to access this feeling in the chest that then can expand into the sense that everything is made out of love. Pierre Salguero would say that's the unity thread, that like everything feels like it's made of love. Honestly, that's something that it shows up when it shows up. There are practices and stuff, but I don't know if they're causative. I feel like when it's showing up, we end up doing the practice and then we go, look, this metta bhavana meditation made it feel like everything was love. And if that's true, then that's another sense. It's another experience. It's another flavor of the construction of the fabrication of mind, that everything is love. It's a beautiful one, though. It's like one of the highest feeling states I think that humans can experience, that I understand, that I know of. So how do you do that? Stop trying, maybe. That's one thing. I don't know, honestly. It shows up spontaneously. Sometimes it's just all-encompassing radiance, and then other times it's like, fuck these people. They're pieces of shit. And then I look into the reactivity that's there, and you realize there's still reactivity, there's still conditioning, there's still all this kind of dependent origination as we started the show. Susan says it's all an amazing mystery, even though it's empty and just an appearance, right? That's the paradox. Like sometimes I think people mistake when I go full emptiness, because I can do that, like go full Tony Parson, like everything's empty, meaning there's nothing substantial, nothing's really happening. This is all an appearance. And this is all true. But the magic of the appearance is that it can take the form of an apparent reality that is as real as a heart attack and beautiful. And it can take the form of a mind that is absolutely perplexed by its mystery. Because mystery only exists from the mind. In an absolute sense, there's not what's mysterious. It's just this. Like, it's very obvious. But from the mind, it's a total blank. It's a mystery. Yeah, because it can't make it something, because it isn't something. It isn't even an it. Like even talking about it in this way is dumb. It's just this. Oh, I love Ishwar, Susan. He's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait for him to come. Marathon Monk says, what do you think about therapists who do non-dual therapy? Is that the ultimate paradox? Yeah. Well, the therapist that I saw for a little while remotely via Zoom was one of these folks. And it was more that they were doing internal family systems, but they were very aware of like the non-dual nature of these things, and that the self is this construction. And so they would dive into the construction. So in a sense, it wasn't a paradox. It was looking at the appearance as the appearance, but using it, taking it sincerely and going, okay, this inner child wants to express this particular energy, and there's an appearance of resistance, or there's an appearance of discomfort. And so let's allow this just to be what it is, just the radiance of what it is. And when I would sit, so the sessions were a trip. It was really weird. They were an hour. What I would do is I would sit here in the studio. He'd be up on that screen via Zoom. And the thing would just start with like, hey, we just sit, and something would arise. And then I would say, he'd say, what, I can see that you're feeling something, like, is there anything you can express? And I would say, oh, it's this sense of this. And as we would allow these things to come up, there might be tears, there might be bliss. For me, it was a lot of bliss would show up, like the radiance of allowing whatever's there to be felt fully. It would just show up. And so in a sense, I was paying for this therapist to just allow me to be blissed out for half the time and miserable for the other half the time. And I didn't know what it was doing. I didn't know what it was accomplishing. But after, dozen or so sessions, it just suddenly felt like, okay, we're done. Like something that was supposed to happen happened, but it wasn't causative, and it felt right. And that was it. And it was beautiful. So yeah, non-dual therapist, it's a paradox, but I prefer it, honestly. Zubin couldn't tolerate a therapist who's like, let's think about this and reframe it, and let's get into some. It's like just not for me, because it's all thought, and I just can't do it. That's what I liked about this guy. He was just like, no, forget about thought, just feel the body. A lot of it was somatic experiencing, these kind of techniques that now I understand. Back then I didn't know what he was doing, but now it all makes sense, right? Linda says, after 12 hours today, I want to find myself a ketamine drip to wrap my head around this. Forget it. Just go to sleep. My mom says when she watches my videos like this, she just falls asleep, which is the rational response to this way of speaking, because the mind just goes, enough. Mind can't process it. It's not for the mind. Ashley says, I feel like things just end when they are meant to now. Yeah, like you rocking your remedial exam and being done. Congrats. Dan says, how do you think, I got to go soon. How do you think you can encourage people to love themselves for who they are? Love what is happening despite the specific circumstances. Well, in a way, it's even more radical than that, right, Dan? It's like, it's a radical acceptance of everything that's arising, including self-hatred, rejection, resistance, denial. Seeing it all fully, experiencing it fully, in a sense, accepting it and saying it's okay that I don't love myself right now, you know? Like, and through that kind of acceptance, the bottom loosens. It seems, this is a story, right? It seems to loosen, and then there's a kind of natural, like even now, I can't say, it's a great question. I can't say I love myself. I can say, yeah, this is what's happening. Zubin is Zubining. Sometimes he's funny, sometimes he's dumb, sometimes he's mean, sometimes he makes big mistakes, sometimes unworthiness arises in him, sometimes, and it's just like, yeah, okay, there's that. But there's no real judgment factor. So in a sense, you could say it's unconditional love because it's total acceptance. It's not the kind of love we're used to as humans where we're like, oh yeah, I love you, I love you, I love you. I've done that. I've done that kind of thing where it just arises to kind of hold yourself. And sometimes that's what's needed when difficult stuff is arising. That's how we resource, we co-regulate with ourselves. We regulate our own nervous system. And it's something that, we're supposed to be taught as kids, but often we aren't. We're shown the opposite, or how to distract, or how to just be hurt, by the people that are supposed to be taking care of us, So being able to co-regulate with yourself is a kind of self-love in a sense, but ultimately even the bottom drops out of that. And that shows up when it needs to, when it's there. And otherwise it's just this radical acceptance of like, yeah, Zubin is what Zubin is. Can't be otherwise. Susan says, do you ever watch non-duality videos anymore just because? Sure, they show up in my feed sometimes and I'm like, okay, what's this clown saying? And I watch and I'm like, sometimes I'm carried away with it. I'm like, yeah, it is like that. It is like that. And then they'll say something and I'm like, yeah, oh, fuck me. That's a story. That is making a raft out of a nothing, which is fine. It may be just what you need to hear. Just what you need to hear. And I have no idea about anybody's realization. I have no clue. I don't know anything about my own. I don't know what that means. That whole story doesn't make sense to me. Who's awake, who's not awake. Like all those distinctions don't even make sense. The questions about that fall away. Pip says to love yourself requires finding yourself, but since there's really no self to find, it really is just being at peace. I think that's a good way to say it, because you go looking for yourself to love and all you find are phantoms, stories, memories, images, beliefs, identities, sub-identities that you're really good at teasing out, Pip, as a therapist. Yeah. Let's see. Jojo says, love is willingly do good for the other and the other including you. That's a nice definition of at least the human aspect of love. Look at these little hearts flying around. That's so cute. All right, guys, I got to go because my daughter's in the other room and she's probably waiting to go home. We're going to make dinner. My wife's coming home. Tonight, they have an orchestra concert, the two girls playing violin. My oldest is the concert master of her orchestra, so that's always fun. And the youngest is like in first violin somewhere. So they get to be together for 1 year. The youngest is a freshman, the oldest is a senior. So that's kind of fun. I'm going to enjoy it while I can. Jericho says, you're helping me see how the idea of awakening might be the last belief to drop. Well, I'll say there's never a last belief, but it is one of the hardest ones to drop. If you find yourself talking a lot about awakening, obsessing about awakening, when that goes, it's such you realize you were carrying this huge burden of expectation of like an identity and an idea of what something is. And this is nothing, is no thing. So it does. And there's good news. It does drop. It does drop. At least it can. And that's a massive relief. You've been holding this huge boulder over your head of awakening, liberation, enlightenment. And when you drop that, you realize there was never a boulder, there was no enlightenment, there was no dropping, there was just this. It's a huge relief. It makes me smile, actually. It's beautiful. All right, my beloved, I will see you next time. I wanted to talk like a guru for a second. My beloved, it's good to see you this time. We will connect next time. Okay, maybe I'll make some shorts out of this one. I'll see what the AI thinks. Okay, guys, got to go. Peace out. Only. You have to say only at the end. That's key.